Doctor. So we meet again. We have some things to discuss.
We definitely have some things to discuss. Ooh, you got some notes.
I'm not going to forget my notes this time.
Sweet. Lovely. So we've been on this whole series of strange things in Arizona.
It's been strange.
It has been strange.
And I feel like... What are we on? Episode 3 now? Or 4? I think it's 3. Yeah, it's 3.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's still more shit to cover.
Yeah. There's a lot of... I think, yeah. It's probably a thing you could probably go by state and just go through all the different strange happenings in different areas within the states.
Well, I was looking at something called the Colorado Plateau. It's geological formation, but it crosses over 4 states. So Colorado, Arizona, Utah, and New Mexico.
The Four Corners area.
Yeah, where all the weird shit is. I gotta look at a map.
A lot of that is like native land, isn't it? Like native, like reservation area?
Yeah, all over, all 4 states.
Yeah.
A little bit less so in Colorado, but still heavy in Arizona and New Mexico.
Yeah.
And then still a fair amount in Utah. But in Utah, it's a little bit more sparse. So, yeah, I was looking at that with some of the geology, but I didn't want to go too deep into it because I had these other topics I had to work on. But
yeah.
I was like, so I had to write it on my notes to look up for later.
I'll have to check that out. And then Colorado Plateau ley lines.
And Bayside Mall. Those were just things that I kept trying to, like, YouTube was suggesting them, and I'm like, God, I got to do homework. I got to stay focused. So I'm like, when I erase all that, I'm going to leave those.
Yeah.
Go balls deep into them.
Yeah. Just swipe right for now.
Yeah, just
I don't,
left, right.
Left is good, right is bad. I don't know.
I downloaded Tinder like twice in my life, and I think I was on it for about a day, and I went, fuck this. This is stupid.
Yeah, I was already married by the time any of these apps and stuff started coming out. So
and you've been married since,
yeah,
so I would hope you weren't on Tinder. If you were, we got to have a talk.
I don't know how they work. I know how they work, but I don't know how the...
Yeah, I'm not down with the dating app thing. It's stupid.
Yeah. I had a buddy that I worked with at Got Junk that he would go on there and just swipe whatever direction that was like, he would just swipe, and go through like all the ones that he matched with and just would write would smash all of them. But he ended up going on a lot of dates with like a bunch of different people, and he would set up like 3 dates in a night and then like go and meet one girl and like have them like staggered like 8, 9, and 10 o'clock or whatever.
I gotta put these in different blocks.
Yeah, and then would like meet up with one girl, and like if he wasn't really vibing with her, he'd be like, oh, I gotta go use the bathroom or something, and then just like take off and go to the next meeting.
And then we wonder why women aren't interested in men these days, or why you have to work so hard.
Yeah.
It's because of shit like that.
Yeah, he was telling me one day he went out with this girl. They ended up getting super drunk, went back to her house because they were going to hang out there or whatever. And he ended up passing out in her bed, fucking pissing himself. Woke up a couple hours later, like jumped in the shower and threw on some clothes and then fucking went to the next date he was supposed to meet this girl at.
He showed up in piss-covered clothes.
Like, man, that shit is wild.
It's dedication, man. I don't have that kind of free time.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'd just rather stay home, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of, like, not being part of the dating culture, you know, especially the dating apps. And I'm like, I'd rather meet somebody, like, organically.
Yeah.
And then I barely leave the house, so Unless I meet somebody from here to the fucking mailbox, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Hey, you live there?
Yeah. So anyway.
Anyways, end of rant.
Yeah, we'll get off that soapbox. Let's get on to another one real quick before we move into the topic. Have you seen all this like disclosure stuff going on? This is our bread and butter right here.
I haven't. I've been, I've worked a lot in the last little while, and like, the only thing that's on my social media feed right now is like political shit, and right now it's like all the stuff that's going on in Mexico, but like...
The Mexico stuff is bananas.
Yeah.
That actually kind of ties into it. So I think it was like a week ago, probably be 2 weeks by the time this airs, Obama was on a podcast and somebody asked him if aliens were real, and he's like, they're real, but I've never seen them. They're not being housed underground in Area 51. So first of all, a former U.S. president just said aliens are real on a podcast or however it was aired. I don't remember. It's not important.
Yeah.
And then he said they're not being housed underground in Area 51. Well, what about underground in Dulce?
Yeah.
Or what about above ground in Area 51?
Can't hide them underground in Area 51. Everybody knows about it now.
Yeah.
Like, you still got probably 200 more dumbs around the country that you can house them at.
Easily. And then somebody asked Trump about it, and Trump was like, he's giving out classified information. He's not supposed to do that. Like, okay, so you're concurring with what he said.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And then Trump turns around and puts out this tweet like, I'm telling my people to put out all this UAP, UFO, alien stuff, everything we can disclose. Let's just disclose it. It's like wicked convenient timing with all the Epstein shit going on. Like,
yeah.
Look over here. Look at these dangly keys.
Aliens. Remember?
And then
Hot
simultaneously, we've got the potential conflict in Iran going on, and now the cartel thing, and it's just like, I want to know about aliens, but this Epstein shit needs to be solved too.
Yeah.
We don't want to go to war with Iran. Nobody fucking does.
Yeah.
And the cartel thing sounds like a Mexico problem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But let them wipe each other out. I don't fucking care. Now I feel bad for all the citizens there that are caught in the crossfire, and the Mexican military who's going to lose a lot of their people and all that. It's terrible, but you kind of shouldn't let cartels take over your country to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that disclosure thing I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I did see that thing with Obama. At the same time, it's like, man, for you to come out and say that aliens are not real, if somebody asks you if aliens are real, with the vastness of space, you have to be kind of ignorant to think that we're the only species in the universe. Like, so are aliens real? Yeah.
100%.
100%. Like,
I think aliens on this planet
what they are, what they
real.
look like, how they operate, have no idea.
I think that they're, like you said, it's arrogant to believe that we are the only sentient species in the entirety of the cosmos.
Right.
Like, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So with that said, with the technology we have now, we can see 2 billion galaxies from where we're at. 2 billion galaxies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fucking planets.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me not one of those has sentient life? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But there's got to be so many species that it would be impossible for us to just document all of them.
Yeah, I've been reading this, so I've finally got some books.
Hey!
The books that you gave me inspired me to get something to read at night. And I got this book by Michio Akaku, astrophysicist guy.
The Japanese guy?
Theoretical physicist, yeah. And it's called Merging Dimensions, I think.
I've heard of it, yeah.
But he's talking about, like, when you look up into the sky at night, what do you see? You see stars, and you see the moon, but most of the thing that you see out there is blackness. And there was other physicists looking at this saying, why would there be so much blackness if the stars are so bright? Is because there is matter there. We just don't know what it is, the dark matter that's there. So when we look out into the cosmos, we can see 5% of the sky looks like stars, and then 95% of it is dark matter and dark energy. So 95% of what is in the night sky, we don't even know what it is, and we have any way to understand it right now. So it's like we understand 0.05% of the elements in the universe, like all the elements that we know is only, they estimate 0.05% of the elements in the universe. So we don't even have the capacity to try to understand what dark matter is, like out there in the vastness of space.
Yeah. And of that 0.5% of elements we understand, how many of those are man-made?
Yeah.
So it's like, you can easily cut that down probably by a third.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's like that whole Fermi paradox. You know, either aliens are real or not. Either way, it's equally terrifying. Like, I'm going to have to give that guy credit for limited technology of his time to be able to say that. But just being able to look at, even from his time, understanding that there are 9 planets in this solar system. We're the only one capable of sustaining life? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's just different forms of life.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't. The only thing that we understand also is life from a human perspective of what humans are made out of.
Yeah.
And then you throw in all these different elements that we don't know about, how they can merge together and form different life forms that are based like non-carbon life forms. The possibilities are endless. So like, really, we can't even imagining about it.
The scope of possibilities is so huge.
Yeah.
You think about, because we put it through this like vacuum that we as humans have to live in this specific type of biome with this specific type of atmosphere. That doesn't mean every creature in the cosmos is limited to that same biome and atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, aliens are real.
Aliens are real.
Great people.
I'm going to have my people disclose everything. Don't worry about the Epstein files. We still talking about this guy? Jesus. Somebody get me a pizza and some grape soda.
Diet Coke. Looks like a Diet Coke guy.
Yeah, he's a Diet Coke guy. But the Epstein files regularly quote grape soda.
Really?
Yeah, grape soda and pizza.
Well, pizza.
Take the G out of grape.
Ah, yes.
I'm just going with that.
Okay.
It's awful. We're going to have to talk about that at another time because the information is still coming out, things are still happening, and I am wound way too fucking tight to talk about it. Might have to have a beer or two for that one.
We can do that.
We can do that. Anyway, let's talk about Arizona.
Arizona.
Since we're talking about alien life forms in the scope of space, we should start by talking about Grand Mountain.
Mount Graham.
Mount Graham? Graham crackers?
Yeah, when you told me about this, I was like, man, I don't know if I've heard about this. And so what it is a theory talking about the Mount Graham in Arizona. There are an array of telescopes that look up into the sky at different things. And one of these telescopes was named Lucifer, which is odd.
I will give you $10 right now if you can tell me the acronym of that. Don't look at the board.
I don't know.
I can tell you. Lucifer is an acronym for Large Binocular Telescope Near Infrared Utility with Camera and Integral Field Unit for Extragalactic Research. Now, I like to think people that work in the Vatican are pretty intelligent, but I know that's not how acronyms work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of extra words for an acronym.
So yeah, I was like, why would the Vatican have a telescope that they're looking into space for research and call it Lucifer? That's
Well,
a conundrum,
Lucifer in the Bible is the light bringer.
right? Morning star.
Fucking very cool name, by the way. The light bringer.
Yeah.
Since you're like the most evil, malevolent thing in all of theology, but you're the light bringer.
Yeah, so in my knowledge of the fallen angels, Lucifer, God created all these children, all these souls, and was going to send them down to test them if they are righteous or not. And so Lucifer was like, okay, well, I'll guarantee you that everybody will come back. I'll just make them all be righteous. And on the other hand, God was like, well, I want to give them free agency. And so we're given the gift of agency instead of having to do exactly what we're supposed to do in God's eyes, which was Lucifer's idea, or the devil. And so Lucifer said, yeah, I'm not with this shit, bro. And so he left and took with him 1/3 of all the spirits that were in the kingdom, and they became the demons or demonic spirits or whatever. So him being the light bringer was just is saying that he was the one that was going to show you the right way, the only way to return to God, but instead was like, yeah, if you're not gonna do it my way, the way that I want to do it, I'm gonna take as many people with me as I can. So yes, the light bringer or the morning star is what he was referred to as.
So I remember my grandma was telling me that Lucifer was like, he was the lawyer in God's court. He was the one who would, he was like the district attorney, basically. He would try to prove mankind guilty so that they would be punished, which is also a very cool concept. Wraps around to that movie, The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
Which, great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Who better to play the devil than fucking Al Pacino?
Al Pacino. Hoo-ah!
Hoo-ah! Fuck them. But yeah, naming it Lucifer is, it almost feels tongue-in-cheek for as serious as the Roman Catholic Church is, the Vatican. They don't play lightly with religion. Obviously, like they're the smallest country of their own self. So they take that shit very seriously. So naming a satellite Lucifer, and in fact creating that long-ass name just to fit the bill.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they made that name with the intention of giving it the acronym Lucifer.
It does. It sounds like that. And that's where I was like, that doesn't make any... That's very sus.
It's very sus.
As the youngsters would say.
They don't have much of a sense of humor over there, so...
No, and even I didn't really know... I don't really know about Catholicism. And so, like, what I've heard, and it was misconception in my part, like, I think a lot of people that probably aren't Catholic don't know this also, is that, so my idea, or my thought on it was that, my understanding was that the Catholic Church was against astronomy and science and stuff like that, kind of opposed to it. But looking into this, that's not the case. They actually have practiced science and have a long-standing order of Jesuit priests that was kind of their whole thing, was to study the stars, and they're the ones that came up with the Gregorian calendar that we follow today, is because they had these Jesuit priests who would map the stars and track lunar cycles and planetary cycles so that they could predict what day Easter was going to be on every year.
Which is kind of a silly aspect in my mind. I don't fully understand the Gregorian calendar as it is, or how mapping the stars plays into Easter. and I could be totally wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure isn't Easter like the demarcation of when Christ rose from the grave? Or is it something like that?
Yeah, when he was
It's Zombie
reborn.
Jesus Day.
Yeah, yeah. When he was rebirth. But again, those religious holidays like that have been influenced by. It's like when the Catholics took over, or the Christians took over England. England was basically like a Wiccan society, but so they took the people, took control of the people, but in order for them not to rebel and stuff, they kind of let them keep their practices, but just rename them in these Christian traditions like Easter, Christmas. Christmas is a pagan holiday, so is Easter, but they just rename them and give them like Christian themes.
Yeah.
Just like Halloween has been revamped to to suit more people.
Yeah, from All Hallows Eve and the Harvest
Yeah.
to Halloween.
Right.
So, yeah, so the Catholic Church suppressing science and things like that that happened forever.
Yeah.
And then kind of after the Dark Ages, during the Renaissance, that sort of thing, where they came back and they started their own kind of arm of science study. And yeah, so they have all these Jesuit priests across the world studying all these different things. And to credit, the Catholic Church is still like one of the biggest providers of medical care in the world.
Mm-hmm.
St. Mark, St. Jude's, blah, blah, blah. You name one that has saint in front of it, it's part of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
But it is very interesting to me that the Catholic Church spent so much time suppressing scientific advancement, but they have their own arm. It's more like they want to control. And they want to understand before everybody else.
Right.
So,
Well, that's even the case of like when Galileo invented the telescope. I think he invented the telescope. I don't know. Anyways, he was looking at the planets, and before him, it was the world, the Earth was thought to be. It was like a geocentric mapping of all the planets, and he looked out at the sun and was mapping the planets, and he was like, well, it's more of a heliocentric. So the church saw that everything, the Earth was fixed and everything kind of rotated around the Earth. And then he said, no, the sun is fixed and everything rotates around the sun.
prison!
Taking Earth out of the center of God's plan or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so that was my understanding. So he was sent to prison. He was a prisoner for, they said, heresy, because he was saying that, God's word in the Bible is not true, because there are certain passages in the Bible that talk about the sun setting on one side and hurrying back to the other side to rise again the next day. And so that proposes that the earth is stable and everything else moves around the earth. So he was going against God's word. And so really it was kind of a political ploy to keep face for the Catholic Church to be in charge.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no, we're right and you're wrong.
It's right here in the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, and I can't remember how the scripture goes that actually helped kind of turn the tide. Where it was something like, God is the only truth, and if it aligns with God, it is the truth. Something like that. I should have fucking wrote it down. But it's kind of their way of filtering everything they find in science, instead of saying it counteracts with scripture or God or the Bible. Instead they say, nope, that's God's divine will. He made that happen. So everything they find within the greater realm of science, even if it's aliens, they're like, yeah, God created them too.
Yeah.
That's how they kind of found their loophole, to be like, we can't be so close-minded about things we find, but we have to make it fit.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things within this conspiracy theory, is that now with this telescope that they have, the Vatican is looking for the new Messiah who's going to come and is actually an alien.
Could it be? Is it possible?
Is it possible that Space Jesus will return?
Space Jesus.
We should make some Space Jesus t-shirts that are like E.T. on a cross or something. Not to make fun of Jesus. Not doing that.
It'll
Just
look like one of the aliens.
sounds
from
wild.
Rick and Morty. He's all just multicolored and shit.
Yeah.
But he has the hair and all that. Instead of a crown of thorns, it's like a laser beam.
Laser thorns.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. Space Jesus, dude. See, we did 2 Jesus jokes right there. We had zombie Jesus and space Jesus. Where else can we take this? We'll need a superhero Jesus. We already have a robot Jesus. That's RoboCop.
Yeah. Laying down the law.
Well, you think about it. The whole movie is like an allegory for Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Alex
yeah.
Murphy gets killed. He's resurrected as RoboCop. He's out there doing the Lord's work, so to speak.
Fighting for justice.
and
truth.
And in the end,
mankind.
you know the scene where they're like in the quarry.
Yeah.
He like walks on water to go get the bad guy.
Yeah.
You can't fucking unsee it once you see it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because you can tell the water is fairly deep. Because there's even a scene shortly thereafter when they drop like the I-beams and shit on him. He's submerged in water while laying down. But when he's walking, it's on top of the water.
Oh my gosh. Movie review.
We can't
Bible
do good.
study.
We can't do good movies. RoboCop's a classic. I watched it again recently.
Yeah.
I watch it probably 2 or 3 times a year.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen the original RoboCop since I was like 9 or something. You can't buy that for $1. I'll buy that for $1.
It's kind of my cinephile roots, where it's like every once in a while I have to revisit classics, and
Yeah.
there's certain movies that are just kind of in my rotation too. But anyway, one thing I found that was weird about choosing that specific location in Arizona, so it's at 10,500 feet ish. It's like 10,474 to 10,9, whatever. But the air is also very dry, so there's less moisture, so they're in a different subset of the atmosphere, and there's less light pollution, which gives you more sky clarity.
Right.
So I thought, why don't I Google the same specifications of that piece of land and cross-reference it with other places? So there's one place in Chile, 2 in Bolivia, and then the rest, Antarctica. And all those places fit the same bill, so why pop it in Arizona?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. So I was looking into it, and originally that section of the Vatican looking into space and their telescopes and stuff started in near the Vatican. They had an observatory there, but the light pollution got so much that they were looking for new places, and they ended up partnering with the University of Arizona. I know that the Jesuit order has a lot of ties with colleges around the world. I think they were the ones that founded Georgetown University, Boston University, all these major universities. They set up a lot of their science programs and stuff like that, but I'm not sure if they had ties with Arizona State before that, but I wouldn't doubt it. So they had an observatory near Tucson, and then as Tucson grew, the light pollution got so much that it wasn't clear, so they just moved it kind of farther away, but just to a point where it was more convenient to see stars, I guess. But it is very weird that it's in this specific region that has all these other anomalies that go around
Very
quite
sus.
often. Yeah.
And it's, my conspiracy brain just goes all over the map with it, like, because I do believe that the Vatican has their hands in all kinds of paranormal happenings, and in some way, shape, or form, they're part of it.
Yeah.
Even if the U.S. government has control of it, I think the Vatican has a hand in it somehow.
Yeah.
So you would think within that region, with Superstition Mountain and Bradshaw Ranch and blah, 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 you name it, they kind of have boots on the ground to go investigate, or take samples, or bring stuff back to the observatory so it can be shipped back to the Vatican to be put in the archives.
Yeah, really, I think that, so the Lucifer satellite was being built, and it's actually not that satellite. So where they're at, there's 3 different observatories right in the same area. They're like maybe not even miles apart, just like across. You could drive there in 2 minutes from one to the
they're really
other.
close.
So the one that the Vatican owns is actually a smaller telescope called the VATT, the Vatican Astrological Telescope, something like that. Then right next door is one that's run by the Arizona State University that is the Lucifer satellite. They've actually changed the name to Lucy 1 or Lucy 2. There's 2, it's the binocular telescope that has 2 lenses instead of 1, so they can kind of focus with 2 beams at the same time.
Broader field of view.
Right. But I do think that they set that up so that they could use their telescope, and then if the people next door are seeing something crazy, they can zoom in onto it too, also, just so it's like right next door. So I do think that it was a strategic move for them to put that next to this other one that's more powerful, but still kind of try to stay under the radar a little bit.
Well, from a science perspective, so one of the telescopes has the 2 lenses and then the other ones are singles, but if you're capturing an object from different dimensions, you have different focal points. You can 3D map whatever that object is because you have dimensions from different aspects.
Right.
So an object could be coming towards the Earth and you would think it's round, but the telescopes that capture it from different angles might show it has a tail, so it could be oblong or whatever shape.
Yeah.
So they can map it better from different angles. It's kind of like
Triangulation.
If you're going to film a 3D video using GoPros, you would use 2 of them side by side with the lenses close together because it gives you better depth of field. So it's kind of the same thing, just on a much, much, much bigger scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that satellite or that telescope has to be cooled to like negative 351 degrees.
Really?
It's fucking bananas. Like, I'm not into telescopes or anything like that, so I didn't know anything, but I was like fucking fascinated by the technology that went into that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It is a really strange thing. So, what do you think about it? Do you think that it's like they're doing something weird with it, or do you think that, what do you think they're looking for?
I have to go back to the Vatican and the U.S. government working together. And I was kind of looking at a map that showed like where that array of telescopes is in relation to Bradshaw Ranch. They're far enough away that, let's say this is Bradshaw and this is, just outside of Tucson, where that can be angled just enough to see the skies overhead of Bradshaw Ranch. And I think it's almost more of a surveillance thing. I do think they're doing legitimate astronomy work, spotting meteorites and comets and things like that, and studying the vastness of space, but the conspiracy brain in me just goes, yep, those 2 are working together. They just angled that telescope down so they could see what's going on over Bradshaw.
Yeah.
And by extension, because it's almost in line what's over Skinwalker Ranch.
True.
But the curvature of the Earth from one point to the other might be too extreme. So it's only a speculation on my behalf.
Yeah, I think that it just still is a question that I have, like, of what is it? Why are they doing it? Like, what would they have to gain from, especially now, like, what would they have to gain by, what would the Vatican have to gain, unless it's just a thing of controlling the narrative, like you said before, like having the information to be able to spin it in the direction that they want to take it, whatever it is.
Well, I've always kind of postulated that the Vatican and the U.S. government work hand in hand with so many things, which is why you never see Catholic priests who harm children go to fucking prison for it.
True.
Or why there's still no taxes on churches.
Yeah.
Because the government doesn't give a shit about Scientology or even Mormonism. The whole reason they don't tax churches is because the Vatican would take a huge hit. It's only my speculation, but I do believe that 100%. So, yeah, I do think it is controlling information. It's controlling the narrative. It is very similar to the way the government will outsource to companies, especially with crashed UFOs. If I give this to Lockheed Martin, then they could put a patent on it, and then it's legally protected. It's not subject to FOIA or anything else. Same thing with information with the Vatican Church. If I give them the information or the ability to study it, and they also don't have to worry about grants or funding or anything like that. It's unlimited.
Right.
So if I just let them handle that part, all that information stays under lock and key. We just get to review it.
Right.
So that's kind of the way I see it. If
Interesting.
I give you a piece and I give that guy a piece and I give that guy a piece and I keep a little piece for myself, none of us have the full picture. But I can go look at your piece and his piece and his piece, and now I have the full picture.
That makes sense, dude. I think you solved it.
Fucking
That's one down.
one down. Should we move on to the next one? Or do you...
Yeah.
They were more like fun facts. I knew Mount Graham was going to be a little bit more like speculation.
Yeah, I do think that it is very... it deserves the conspiratorial theorists digging into it, because it is a wild concept to have these the Vatican having what they're doing there, but yeah, I think that you have postulated a very great theory for us to say solved.
Yeah, and then whenever we go for the Vatican archive and do an episode on that, I'm going to reroute that, put that right back in.
Yeah.
Well, and it just seems so strange to me that they're going to put it in Arizona of all places. And like I said, there was these other places that matched those conditions almost identically, and then there were some that were still close enough. Mount Shasta is at the same height, not the same moisture level. There's plenty of places in Colorado that's the same thing. There's still moisture, but it's way high up above sea level. Because if you look at a topographical map, is it topographical?
Yeah.
It shows all the mountain ranges. It's basically the western half of the country has a lot of mountain ranges. And if you wanted to get a higher mountain range with a drier climate, you have all of Arizona and all of New Mexico. So it's just kind of like, why there still? It just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
But with the whole Colorado plateau, kind of makes sense, because you have all these weird, strange happenings in this 4-state square than you do anywhere else.
Yeah, it makes sense. If you've got something specific that you're looking for with a telescope, you put the telescope in that area to be able to watch for it, or watch for whatever might happen.
Especially if there is a vortex around Bradshaw Ranch, one of the 13 alleged vortexes, you'd want to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
And the other ones, like the one in China, allegedly, they're not going to let nobody in there to watch that. Or even some of, like, what was the other one in South America? In Peru.
Oh.
Was it Pumapunku?
Yeah.
Or something like that. That's like what do you call it? It's preserved land now, and it's religious land. They're not going to let you build there either.
Yeah.
So why not here in America? You watch it, you report to us what you do, and then you can keep the rest of the shit.
Especially when you already got, ties and dealings with the government.
Mm-hmm.
There's your in, buddy.
Got him.
Build away. Give us a piece.
Just tell us what you find.
Give us a little taste. Give us a bump.
Just to...
Let's take our key.
Or your long pinky nail.
Your long pinky nail. Yeah.
You ever notice a lot of polys have that long pinky nail?
Yeah.
But I think it's for
nose picking. Nose.
Yeah.
Ears.
Ears, yeah. I know how racist that sounds, but he's poly and he didn't get mad at me.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing. But I have this itchy ear problem. It's just my ears get super itchy, dude. I don't know if it's like... Because I used to always see my uncle and people, cousins and stuff like that who would like find like... Most of the time it was like a key and you like dig in your ear. I don't know if that's a Polynesian thing that we just get... what is it called? Cirrhosis? Or not cirrhosis, but like...
Psoriasis?
Psoriasis. Inner ear psoriasis or something like that.
Well, I get
It's
it
like-
too. Like right up in the bottom of the canal where nothing's going to reach. But I found if you give yourself a lymph node massage, like up in your cheeks and behind your ears and your neck, and like way up high in your cheekbones, do that for a few minutes and it just like lets all the
Drains
pressure
it
out. It's uncomfortable because you're also loosening up all the shit in your sinuses. Where does it go? Right down your fucking throat. You're like,
Yeah, I for one year for Christmas I got this they're like ear scratchers. It almost looks like a back scratcher. It's a little bamboo thing with a little thing on it, and you stick it in there. Give yourself an eargasm for like 30 seconds, like
your leg is like a dog.
yeah.
I get it, dude. When you get in there and you get that speed going.
Yeah. Oh, they're so nice.
Oh.
They're so nice. Sitting right on my table when I lay down to go to sleep and I grab them.
Oh, babe, give me a towel. Tight.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon is also in Arizona.
I don't know if it's like the Mac Daddy of all the weird shit in Arizona, but it's weird enough.
Not just because it's the butt crack of the world. It's fucking... There's some weird shit that goes on in the Grand Canyon.
Did you know if you took all of the lakes in the world, it wouldn't even fill up the Grand Canyon? That's all of them.
Yeah, I saw something that was like if you took every single person on the planet and had them stand on the rim of the Grand Canyon and piss into the Grand Canyon, it would take like 300 years to fill it up.
Yeah, I saw that one too.
Something like that. Wild.
Yeah. Talking about a massive crevasse.
Yeah. The Grand Canyon is you just think about like the Grand Canyon is 220 river miles of canyon. But that's just the main canyon itself. There's thousands of miles of slot canyons that feed into the Grand Canyon. So there's so many canyons in that area that a large portion of them have not even been really mapped or explored by people that are doing surveys and stuff. I'm not saying that people haven't gone in them, but like there is a lot of untouched, unexplored land could it be possible
Could it be possible?
that there are, hidden gems inside these slot canyons?
G.E. Kincaid thinks so.
Yeah, G.E. Kincaid was he doing like survey work or something like that for the government?
Yeah, he was paddling down the river and came up to the spot and he saw these steps. He thought, well, that's weird. Carved steps, not like where people had been walking. In between that and the water erosion kind of formed it into pseudo steps, actual carved steps. Decided to park his boat and then walked up these steps and he found this entrance into this cave. But it wasn't just a cave, it was actually carved. Like, squared off, nice clean edges. Goes inside and he finds all kinds of crazy shit. Finds copper weapons, he finds giant mummies, he finds the bones and bodies of giants, artifacts from, I wrote it right there, Egyptian and Indian artifacts from time zones or time periods that don't align with being in America. So he takes a couple of pieces, wraps them up, takes them back out, goes back to wherever his home base was, and he calls the Smithsonian because he was doing this for the Smithsonian. And they send out S.A. Jordan, who is a fucking Smithsonian agent, by the way. No other way for me to explain that. They come out, they do this investigation, and then at another point, G.E. Kincaid goes to go back to the cave, can't find it. And then other people went looking for it and say they found it, but it's concreted closed. So the stories on this are so vast, and the internet puts a little twist on it here and a little twist on it here. So it's telling fact from fiction is extremely difficult on it, but the core story is still there. G.E. Kincaid finds this cave. It has all this unexplainable shit. There's hieroglyphs on the wall, just the whole 9 yards. The gamut of these big societies that are tied to UFO culture in a way. You know what I'm talking about, like the Indians and the Vimanas and all that. And the Egyptians with the UFOs and the pyramids. Like, it's a whole rabbit hole to go down with that. But finds this place, calls the Smithsonian. Smithsonian sends out a team of investigators, and then out of nowhere, you can't find it anymore.
And it's a lot of people that go out there, right? Surveyors and... it
was like a team of 40 people, plus G.E. Kincaid and S.A.
Yeah. And they... Now, if you go in and ask for, like, the Smithsonian for the documents and stuff that talk about this, they say they don't have them, or they are locked up in this certain thing that is being renovated
for asbestos,
and it's not going to be done for another 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, fuck the Smithsonian.
They've lost the records.
Yeah, they're...
Like, you're a museum curating place. How did you lose the fucking records?
I'm sure they're in a box
That's
somewhere.
what you do. You just hold on to records, right?
Yeah, and they say there's no record of G.E. Kincaid or S.A. Jordan, which, in my mind, G.E. Kincaid was probably legit. He was doing this survey. He was doing what he was supposed to. Found this weird thing, called it back to home base. They send out S.A. Jordan, who is kind of like the Rick Doty of the Smithsonian in my mind.
Yeah.
Because how else do you just bury this whole thing?
Easily, man. We don't have the records.
We don't have the records, man.
What? Who is G.E. Kincaid? I've never heard of the guy.
Well, even the 1909 article that told this story, right? So G.E. Kincaid tells the public about it, and the Gazette or the Sun or whatever, it's unimportant. But he tells them the story, they publish the story, and then they turn around and basically redact it. Now, everybody who's gone looking for the original plates and the microfilm of that story, it's missing. So all we have is copies of copies. We have digital copies of the original newspaper, but that section with the original printing plates and the original microfilm that went with it is just gone.
How convenient. So it begs to wonder if there are these things, what are they doing in the Grand Canyon in America? especially in 1908, if you don't know about Egyptian culture and hieroglyphics and shit like that, how are you going to even say that this is what you found? So the question is it people from Egypt that have come over here at a certain time exploring? Or is it like explorers who both went to Egypt and the Americas? I don't know. There are Egyptian artifacts and hieroglyphics that have been found in other places, like Australia. They found hieroglyphics that show like Egyptian hieroglyphs, and then they have depictions of kangaroos and stuff like that that are have been studied and proven to be old. The patina on the rocks, along with in the carved sections itself, show that they're thousands of years old. So it looks like there was some crossover between all these ancient peoples. I really don't doubt it at all that people before Columbus and the people who discovered America, people have been going across the oceans for millennia.
Oh yeah.
I think. And for us to think that, these people were the first, they're so amazing, it's just what we've been brainwashed to believe, because they want us to follow the narrative.
Yeah.
Of like European greatness or whatever it is.
Yeah, white power, basically.
It's racist, dude.
Fucking racist, man.
But yeah, I mean, people have been inhabiting that area of the Grand Canyon for, they've estimated, between 10 and 15,000 years. There's native...
Well, hold on. The Earth is only 13,000 years old.
7.
Yeah. So how?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Which even predates the known people. The Clovis people were supposed to be the first people who inhabited the Americas, were around 11,000 years ago. But there's evidence that these people were living there already for between 13 and 15,000. So yeah, I mean, all the timelines are skewed and they can't really prove any of this stuff, but there were people living there. There's remnants of food caches and houses people had built, like almost like Mesa Verde, where they build structures into the caves, and their oral traditions of the indigenous people that lived there, the basket weaver culture, the Hopi that lived in the area, and they also all have stories of the Sky Brothers or the Sky People or the Ant People that are visitors of this planet and have come here throughout history giving information and enlightenment to the people who are living in these areas.
Isn't it crazy that all of these much older cultures, whether they're Native Americans or Egyptians, Indians, that sort of thing, they all have all these great tales of star people and ant people and all that. What do we have? I saw a ball in the sky.
Yeah. I saw a light.
Yeah, but all these other cultures, they have stories of these benevolent people coming down from the sky and imparting wisdom.
Yeah.
And we get, did you see that? It's nothing. Probably
satellite.
So I have two working theories. And there's many more details to go in, but I'm going to throw these out. The first one is probably a little too far-fetched, but during Pangea, I tend to think a lot of these cultures were more collective in one area. But each one is somewhat of an offshoot of each other. You think about Indian history with Egyptian history. They're not the same, but there are a lot of through lines that kind of connect them. There's a lot of similarities. So it's kind of like, if I were to put it into a modern term, the way we in the United States have a culture versus Canadian culture. Very similar, but some differences that keep it separate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. So pre-Pangea, they probably did live closer together. And then when a Younger Dryas event happened and it rearranged the scope of the Earth, now Egypt is way over here in Africa, and India is way over here. So that's one theory, which is kind of a go-to for me, which always explains like how there's hieroglyphics in Australia. Or they were seafaring at the time. It's got to be one or the other, if not both.
Yeah.
But my other one, this one is more fun. So I was watching a video on how the Grand Canyon was made, and at one point, the Grand Canyon itself was almost like a big ball, right? And it rose way up in the air because of water erosion. Now, that would lead you to believe that there was a point of the Grand Canyon that was sitting way above the water level. What would cause the water level to be that high? A great flood.
Yeah.
What was the Great Flood intended to do? Wipe out the Nephilim. Why are there bodies of giants and giant mummies found in these caves? Probably because there was some Nephilim that were smart and were like, we got to get seafaring like right fucking meow. And so they may have been in one or the other culture, or they combined forces together, built their own ark, and then they made landfall in this Grand Canyon area where they went in and just made a home. And then once everything settled down, they died off because there's no fucking food. It's a big rock. You can't grow anything. Yeah. And that's just where their final resting place is. So once everything settled, went back where it was, now it's in a lower area because the water level receded. Think about all that erosion is caused by water.
Oh yeah, it's like a mile deep. The Grand Canyon is, and most of it all has been formed by water. And every year there's a big reason why a lot of these slot canyons haven't been mapped, or even the ones that have been mapped, they change season to season because it rains and there's so much rock that all the rain just collects down in these valleys and then just cuts the rivers that rage through there, just cuts new sections of the canyon. So even if you go through and map everything, like you come back 5 years later, it's all going to be different because it's all recut again.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that I think that could possibly still be found, and could possibly a large part of the story is still missing because we just haven't been able to find it yet. So I was listening to, I think his name is Tim Hogan on the Y Files, The Basement. Have you listened to any of those episodes?
Yeah, I did start listening to that with Chris Bledsoe.
Oh yeah. So there's one that he talks to this guy named Tim Horton or Tim Hogan. I think his name.
Tim Horton sounds familiar.
But he's like a high level Freemason, and he leads tours in Egypt and stuff like that, and has been researching this stuff for a long time. But he talks about how the Templar Knights in the early 1000s or 1100s went to Egypt and found all these artifacts and stuff like that, and then brought them back and then took them around the world to hide them in caches. He talks about the Templars finding 6 different arks, like the Ark of the Covenant, 6 different arks that were energy generators, and then taking them. He says they still have like at least 2 of them that he knows about that are in these caches. Some of them are in the Americas, and so the Templars were here in the Americas before all this shit happened with Columbus or whatever. They were already here. Mm-hmm. Caching artifacts and stuff like that for future generations to be able to look at or whatever. But he was talking about how these caches are spread out all across the world. Some of them are in the United States. He talks about Oak Island being one of those caches, and that's where they're finding all these like weird artifacts that are like Templar related.
Yeah,
on Oak Island.
So I stopped watching that show because it became so repetitive.
Yeah.
But it was strange that every time they would pull out an artifact, it was from like a different time period or from a different part of the world, which is super interesting. So I'm just waiting for them to like figure it out, and then I'll just read an article online.
Yeah.
Or watch a TikTok.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, that they are finding artifacts there, but like the main cache of stuff was already taken out hundreds of years ago. They already went through and took out all the important stuff. Some stuff is still there, but like
that works just as well.
Yeah, so could it be that, the Templars found a spot in this super remote place in this Grand Canyon that they're like, oh shit, nobody's going to come down here looking for anything.
Yeah.
Cut a hole in the wall and stashed all the shit in there so they could, it's almost like a cache of knowledge. Maybe.
Makes sense. I mean, part of the reason I went with the idea of like the seafaring to get away from the flood was because of just the ties to Egyptian iconography of like these pre-cut stones that are cut so precise. What technology did they have to do that? And did they apply it to making these caverns inside the Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
So plus I like the idea that it was like a few Nephilim escaped the flood but then died off anyway of hunger.
Yeah. Or they just died because they got over 900 years old.
Yeah. Over 900 years in a fucking cave. Sounds miserable.
That sucks.
No TV.
Yeah, eating frogs and fucking snakes and shit.
Ugh.
Scorpions.
Sounds awful.
Yeah. No hot dogs.
No hot dogs. And you guys all fucking stink.
Yeah. Dude, I smell like fucking... At least you got the river right down there.
That's true.
Hike down to the river and wash your ass a little bit.
You just stick your ass out the door. That's better.
Gotta wash these musty giant balls.
All 6 of my fingers had poop on them. All 6.
Well, I do believe that, like, people were definitely traveling the ocean, traveling across from different continents, exploring, if not just going for trading and adventure, whatever they're...
Well, it makes perfect sense, and I'm going to butcher this, but I was watching this documentary about these secluded Polynesian islands, and I want to say one of them was like excavated, and when they found him they were examining his stomach contents, and he had sweet potatoes in his stomach, which are not native to that area. They're only native to the mainland of America at that time. Or South America. So it's like there's evidence right there that people were communicating in some way. They were sharing resources in some way.
Now, some of the oldest skeleton remains they have found in South America are Polynesian.
Yeah. So it's like...
So Polynesians have this weird trait as a different jawbone than pretty much every other race on Earth. Well, it's called a rocker jaw. So if you take a jawbone from any other race of people and set it down like this, it'll sit flat. Because the jawbone is square like that. And Polynesians have a rounded jawbone, so it rocks. So they're pretty sure that they're Polynesian people that were in the Americas, and they go back like 5,000 years or something like that.
They got that rocker jaw from eating all that fucking Kahlua pork.
Yeah. They're doing this. Hey, grab that thing over there.
What's up, bro?
Yeah, Polynesians, we point with our eyebrows.
That's true. That's true.
It's over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over there, bro. Hey, there's some food over there, dog.
It's like they say, Inuit people point with their lips. It's over there. Polynesians just do it with their eyebrows.
Yeah. And Germans just do it with their hand.
Some Germans.
There's a joke.
But yeah, I think that people have been traversing the planet for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah. Way before our version of recorded history. Because again, it's like you said, it's to support the kind of European narrative, which in a way is to support the white person narrative.
Yeah.
Where So America was actually discovered by Amerigo Vespucci, who was Italian, which is basically a white dude. They're just a little darker.
Yeah.
Christopher Columbus was basically a white dude, even though he's a Spaniard. But a lot of Spaniards have a lot of the same DNA as your average Caucasian male. So it really is to support the European narrative, because we can't give credit to brown people. It's so stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like, we as people want to know the real version of history, and it's not about like a hero worship of like, how did your people get to South America before mine did? Like, nobody cares about that. It's so stupid.
Yeah. And I get that it's probably mostly just because it is a written down history, so you can see this person came here and they wrote it down that they came here. And so it's like, okay, we're going to give you the history that we know about because it was written down. So this is what they're saying. But even that is like, you want to hear about this story that happened to me yesterday? Like, I wrote it down, so it's true here.
Yeah. Well, and I just don't understand why history wants to support isolationism instead of diffusionism, but diffusionism makes more sense, where cultures are interacting with each other.
Right.
So it just doesn't make sense of why we want to say, no, these people lived here and these people lived here, and there's no way they could talk.
Yeah, it's like, well, why do they have similarities in language then? Like, there's linguists have tied like Polynesian words to Greek, ancient Greek words, but they're saying that the way that it looks like is that it originated as a Polynesian word and then was translated into Greek. So it's like the Polynesian people were going to Greece thousands of years ago. That's a long ways away.
That's a very long ways away.
Yeah, and so they're bringing their language, and the language gets taken up by these other cultures in Greece, and then now it's a Greek word. And so it's like there's a lot of different examples in language throughout history that, like, where does this word come from? Well, it's an ancient Greek word. Well, ancient Greek word is actually a Polynesian word.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
It's so weird how, like, language gets so convoluted in that way. Like you're saying, where this was actually a Polynesian word that got taken by a Greek word. And it's kind of like the way a lot of English is predicated on Latin.
Mm-hmm.
But we just think about them as English words now because we've had them for so long.
Right.
Or even in a very short term of history, if you've ever wondered why we don't speak with an English accent, even though we're all settlers from England originally, but we don't speak the same as them, it's because they changed their dialect.
Yeah.
So we technically do speak with an English accent, and people in England speak with the proper English accent now because they changed it.
Well, you can even take that, dissect it further of different regions in United States or in England, where it's like you have certain cities where they have a different accent. Even
Completely different.
The southern United States, they have a totally different accent than like Midwestern or like even us in Utah.
Yeah,
totally
even all the way in the north, like their accent is totally independent from everybody else because they have hybridization with Canadians.
Right.
Or even if you go look at Ireland and Scotland, like their accents are similar, but they're very different, and they're both imposed by Gaelic, or Gaelic, or however you want to pronounce it.
And you listen to them and you're like, I know that guy is speaking English, but I don't understand what the fuck he just said. They'll use words that are like probably half Gaelic, half English.
Yeah.
That just sound like gibberish to
And then you start throwing in different idioms from different countries, and it just like, that's kind of the modern Tower of Babel, where you have to watch TV with the subtitles on because I know he's speaking English, but I don't understand a fucking thing he just said.
Yeah. Even now, as fast as language changes with every generation that comes up, they have their own slang and they give meaning to words that mean something different, like cool or like that's bad, that's badass.
Yeah.
Like 100 years ago, that would probably mean something really bad.
Yeah. Why would your ass be bad?
Yeah.
I don't. That's tight. Tight? It looks pretty loose to me.
Yeah.
That's fat.
I think that's another thing that like when you're reading stuff like ancient texts and like even the Bible, is why a lot of people struggle with understanding what's being said, is because we don't understand the language that they're using anymore, just because we're ignorant, but because language has changed over time so much that certain things mean certain things. And
it's totally true. Like, here's a prime example is, you remember the theme from the Flintstones?
yeah,
We'll have a gay old time.
Yeah.
To us now it'd be like, gay.
I'm not having a gay time.
But to them it was just like a good time, fun.
Yeah.
Or I remember reading this comic book when I was a kid, and I've seen the panel on the internet since then. And it's like Iron Man is talking to Captain America, and there was a slang phrase at the time, but Iron Man says, "You know, Cap, maybe you just need some straight dick from Iron Man." And Cap says, "Maybe I do, Shellhead, but straight dick at the time meant straight talk. Like, no bullshit.
Ah.
I'm going to give you the truth, unabridged." Straight dick, huh?
Okay.
And I remember reading that as a kid, go,
Wow.
"Gay?
Okay, Cap.
What the fuck is the rest of these pages going to
I
hold?"
wonder why he wears those fucking tights.
Plus, the suit's going to give him extra strength for thrust power. That's awful. Anyway, let's route back to the Grand Canyon.
Oh, it'd be a Grand Canyon after that.
Well, his metabolism burns really fast. He'd heal up. I'll be ready again in a day. You got any popsicles?
I don't care what flavor.
It's for my ass. So, when people go to the Grand Canyon now, especially looking for that cavern, they get descended on by Black Hawks instantly.
Black Hawk helicopter, not Black Hawks.
Maybe they need some straight dick. Straight dick from the U.S. government.
Yeah, that's there. That area where G.E. Kincaid has said was where he found that stuff is now a restricted area, and you can't go there. Allegedly, it's because it's like they're protecting the ecosystem there, which is, you know, relative. You can protect that, but I was watching this thing, and this guy was exploring one of these supposed unexplored slot canyons, and it's like 20 miles of canyon that he says is an unnamed canyon because nobody has bothered to name it yet. He thinks it hasn't been explored. And so he's walking up there, and there's a little stream that goes pretty much all the way up through this canyon. And he was like, you think about like this stream, this little pond right here, and he zooms in, and he's like, there's fish and there's frogs in this thing, there's animal life, there's microbes inside the water, there's plant life in here. This ecosystem is its own ecosystem. Mm-hmm. There's probably stuff in here that only grow in this little pond, nowhere else in the whole wide world. Now, later on this season, there could be a flash flood that comes through here and wipes all this stuff away, and then this thing has to rebuild from scratch all over again, like in the next 2 years. So it's like a revolving cycle of just plants and animals and life taking root in this area that gets wiped out so many times over and over. So controlling the ecosystem in this one area doesn't really hold up for me, because the ecosystem is going to change so much over every single season that it rains.
Yeah.
And I can see where they say that they want to protect the wildlife and stuff in that area, but like at the same time it changes so much.
Well, yeah, when that was put into place by Congress to protect that as an ecosystem, it was largely to protect it from logging and mining and operations and things like that. So I do 100% get that part. I don't think that is as nefarious as we want it to be. But does it play a factor with what G.E. Kincaid found? Probably.
Probably.
Because just like with Bradshaw Ranch, where, nope, we've delegated this area a wildlife preserve so that we can study the ecosystem. Same thing with the Grand Canyon. Some weird shit's there. Let's put it under federal lock and key and keep it protected.
Yeah. Where I do agree with, like, you know, logging is for the most part, we have the infrastructure that we could probably figure something else without having to log, like, and destroy all these beautiful places. And so I do understand and support the idea of protecting nature and protecting wild places. But it now it seems like they're looking back at it. It does look like a convenient way to keep people out of areas that they want to try to figure out.
Absolutely. So one thing I did see was Hannah Strickland was doing. I poorly wrote that note down, but she was doing these LiDAR scans, and there was an elevation data error. And so trying to look at her data, she found that whole area where that cavern allegedly is blacked out. Couldn't access it. Couldn't overlay it with, well, she could overlay it with older maps, but couldn't overlay it with any current maps because that data was just missing.
Yeah.
And then there was another one. In 1994, they did a survey that showed magnetic anomalies consistent with caverns, huge caverns.
I don't doubt that there are. I really think that there are pretty much tunnelways all through that area. Even that one of the videos I was watching, this guy was finding all these little tunnels and stuff. A lot of them that he was looking at were, the rock is kind of porous. A lot of it is sandstone. A lot of it's granite. But water pressure has a lot to do with carving all these things. And you get a little hole in the rock, and then over centuries that hole becomes deeper and deeper, and then like cuts through, and it'll just make a tunnel and then bore out a huge tunnel as water moves through that system. And there was a lot of different things that he found that was like, yeah, this is all water erosion. And it looks like there was a spring that was coming out through the rock right here, opened up a hole, and as that water continually ran for hundreds of years, it just made it into a big opening that you can get into, and you could go inside and then literally look all the way up to like a vent hole in the top of the rock. So there's a lot of different stuff like that, but in my mind, if I was an indigenous person in this area, I would utilize those things, and then it would probably become pretty apparent that you can manipulate the stones by hitting it with another rock and then make it into whatever you want.
Yeah, this water's flowing over here, but I need it over here. Pow, pow!
Yeah.
I'm inclined to believe it's almost hollow.
Yeah.
That,
like Swiss cheese?
Yeah, like Swiss cheese, a series of caverns that lead into each other, but there's not enough stone mass on the inside to show that it's solid. Mm-hmm. And that's why they get these magnetic resonances. Because it would stand to reason to me, especially with the mesa-dwelling people, where they carve into the mesa, they could probably still do the same thing there and have an entire living situation in there.
Like Dendera.
Like Dendera, yeah.
Yeah.
So something like that would make sense to me, or, you could even go way further and say maybe they were trying to carve their own kind of pyramid out of the existing rock, and they hollowed it out first, but then water erosion, everything else took place that they didn't expect. It just ruined it.
Yeah.
But now it's probably just dumb.
I mean, if there was something that was found like that, and the government knew about it through the Smithsonian, and then they were like, yeah, we're going to take all these records. You don't have access to them. It never happened anymore. And then they take over the site. There are people who said that they have found this area, like you said, the people who try to go exploring there now, and the black helicopters kind of descend on them, and they're told not to go there. But they've found like slabs of concrete on the top of the cliffs that has like a poured section of concrete that have like anchors on the top, so it would be used for like rappelling and shit like that into.
But you're not allowed to go there.
But you're not allowed to go there, yeah. So it's very, interesting. Why would they have these things there?
Well, and people try to fly their drones through there, and their drones lose GPS signal. Pilots that fly over there say that they have a lot of problems with their instrumentation when they fly over. Mm-hmm. Not dissimilar from Bradshaw or Skinwalker.
Or any of the other military installments.
Yeah, Dulce, you name it. I almost wonder if you were to go there with an oscilloscope, would you pick up the 1.6 gigahertz like you do in all these other places? I
wouldn't doubt it. So there was
Somebody
another video.
That, let me know.
There was another video that I saw that was talking more about what G.E. Kincaid found and the speculation that he said, the story that he told. Again, this is on the internet, so it's 100% true. Is he went in there and was finding all these. He found the bones of giants, relics from all these different cultures. But then he walked a little further into the cave and saw this giant statue. He thought it was an Egyptian statue as he got closer, and was like, could see some light, got some light in there. I don't know if he had a torch or a lantern or whatever. He saw that the statue was an alien statue. And he went even further, and there was a big hole in the ground. And then, so he wanted to see how far the hole went, and so he took a big rock and threw it in there and didn't hear anything. That's just one of the stories that I heard.
Yeah.
To me, that sounded like clickbait.
It definitely, it's fantastical and it's fun. How do you know it's an alien? How do you know it's not like a creature that's indigenous to Madagascar? Mm-hmm. Or, something that he wouldn't have known at that time in 1909. It's so it is a stretch, but is it unbelievable? No.
No. And I mean, if you're looking at like, okay, the indigenous people of the area, maybe they made this 10,000 years ago. Those people had an oral history of like these star brethrens or the ant people. Could it be a carving of that? Maybe.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's very interesting. One thing that I really wanted to find more about with the Grand Canyon, and I surprisingly didn't find that much, was the connecting thread, the Bigfoot. Because of all these crazy places, there's always Bigfoot. But there's actually pretty minimal sightings.
Yeah.
And I watched one video, this guy kept he's holding the camera, pointing at himself. And way off in the background, there's something tall standing up down toward the bottom. He's like, that's a Bigfoot right there. First of all, take the camera off of you. I don't want to fucking look at you. Yeah. Point it at the object and zoom the fuck in.
Yeah.
There was some stories, but it really did sound more like sprinkles than anything. It was just breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
But I wanted to find more about that to really put all these things back together. But the fact that there are some stories is pretty telling.
Yeah.
There was a few stories I read. Peter Jackson in 1971, he was out there hiking, but according to friends and family, he was a very well put together guy. He had done this many, many times. He said he'd be back in a few days. He went on a hike, came back to his camp, and he found his journal was missing. But he kept notes in all of his journals saying, I think something's watching me, there's things out in the bushes, I hear voices, blah, blah, blah. So he recalls writing all this stuff down, later on after the fact. Because when they found him, he was kind of catatonic. But went missing, and then when he came back, rangers and everything had already found his campsite, but they had no trace of him. So he wandered his way out. And then after a while, after his body and mind healed back up, he was able to recall all these experiences that he had. But it's what was out there? What was he hearing and seeing? But he said something scared him, so he ran away from his camp. But he couldn't recall what it was. Or there's another story of a park ranger who, at the time, these rangers would just camp they would walk the trails and they would stop and camp for the night. But he did the same thing. He kept a journal saying he was hearing voices and thought they were getting closer and he couldn't sleep. He ended up dying out there. I can't remember if it was like dehydration or starvation or whatever, but they found his body, but they didn't find his notebook.
Interesting. And I know that, like, so we've talked about certain stone, limestone and granite that resonate certain frequencies. In one of the videos that I was watching, this guy was backpacking through the Grand Canyon, and in part of the episode, whatever video, he sat down to meditate, and he's sitting there meditating for however long, and then he's like, yeah, I was just sitting here meditating. He's like, I've been sitting here for maybe 15 minutes, and I just started feeling this. It was almost like something was pushing on my back, like, but a really rhythmic pushing. And he's like, really the only thing that I can attribute it to is the energy pulsating from, you're surrounded by rocks, you're pretty much in the belly of all these rocks, and the resonant frequencies that are going through this, kind of echoing through this chamber of rocks. He said that he could feel the vibration coming from the earth itself. So if you're really tuned into that, I think maybe you can probably feel some sort of energy coming from all around you at all the time. So it might make you feel on edge.
Well, not just that, but there's a lot of gold, silver, and copper, with gold and copper being two of the most conductive metals. That it's probably creating a strong enough EMF signal that you could hallucinate, you could hear voices, you could see things that aren't there. Yeah.
Or they really are there, but you're just, the veil is thin because all these different energies are there.
Yeah, and there's so many paranormal stories there too. There was one story of this woman lost her husband and her son. They both went missing in the Grand Canyon, and after all these search parties and everything, she had become so sullen that she said, you know what, I'm just going to join them. Jumped off the fucking gorge, died down there. But there's one specific part at, I think it's at Phantom River, where if you go there at sundown, you can allegedly hear her crying. And there's a whole bunch of ghost stories that go along with that, because there are many campgrounds spread out around there.
Right.
So it's very cool, very interesting. But again, is that the EMF putting off that signal with, a forced bias of hearing this ghost story, that you go there and you go, oh fuck, I heard her. Like, did you hear it?
Did you hear the wind whistling through the canyon?
Or did you go there expecting to hear it, and then the EMF signal that scrambled the synapses in your brain caused you to hallucinate that? Sounds like a job for a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting, there's a lot of stuff that you could probably measure and figure out. I think that we might have to do an investigation in the Grand Canyon. I don't know if you're allowed to carry proton packs down in there, but
I don't think I'd want to. The hike, the switchbacks, ugh.
You gotta carry a lot of water, first of all. Holy shit.
I don't think they make like an Ecto-1 side-by-side that we can take down there. Maybe we'll just get some pack mules and paint them white with the logo on the side or something.
Yeah. Pack mule Ecto-1s.
I think if I had a paranormal experience in the bottoms of the Grand Canyon, that would be scarier than any other place.
Yes, it would.
You can't get the fuck out of there that quick.
Well, I guess I'm stuck here for 5 days as I try to hike out of here.
It's not like a haunted house where you're like, you know what? I'm just going to walk out the front door.
Well, even like that lends credence to like this guy's story that he got so afraid of whatever was affecting him that he just left all of his shit behind, and like he knows that it's going to be very dangerous to try to walk out of there without like your shit that you need.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen stories like that where people get so scared they just abandon all reason. They leave all their gear, all their necessary to survival gear, and just get the fuck out. We've seen it at Dyatlov, plenty of other places that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So it would stand to reason that he did see something, and he was terrified. So terrified that he went, I don't even need my fucking boots. Let's go. Like, he literally left his boots there. You kind of need those.
Yeah. Or maybe he was just some fucking long-haired hippie fuck that was eating shrooms in the Grand Canyon. Of course, he's a hippie, so he took his shoes off to wander and feel nature, and then...
You gotta touch grass, bruh.
Went fucking...
Or he was hungry, and he's like, hey,
the
there's some mushrooms here. Let's boil them.
Yeah.
Ate
One more mushroom, then I'm full.
Drank the water, and then he was like, they can't see us, asshole. We're in the spirit world.
Licked a frog.
There's frogs there. You already said it.
Got
Part of
stung
that
by
ecosystem.
some kind of scorpion or something. Started seeing shit.
Yeah, dude.
Who knows?
That's totally viable. So yeah, I think we covered those two things pretty well.
Yeah.
I thought those were going to be more fun because of the speculation. The G.E. Kincaid story is great.
Yeah.
I've heard that story for years.
Yeah.
And I 100% believe he did find those things, and the Smithsonian is covering it up.
Yeah, I think that Smithsonian Gate needs to be a new topic. Open up the halls. Open
Smithsonian
up the halls.
Gate.
Yeah.
I love that. Hashtag. Well, I mean, what was the other story that the Smithsonian really... Oh, giants.
Giants.
Yeah. So they've been covering up giants forever, and dude found giant bones.
This is part of it, you know. What else are they holding back?
All of it.
It's like the Indiana Jones, where he goes into that huge warehouse of all the weird shit.
Yeah, examined by top men.
Yeah.
Which I was, I think I sent you a video where a guy was talking about that, where a lot of these artifacts do actually get hauled into a warehouse, and I 100% believe it.
Yeah.
Especially with the Spielberg connection. So Spielberg directed that movie, co-wrote it with George Lucas, and Spielberg has made multiple movies about aliens, and they've all involved people as advisors, or even have a guest appearance like J. Allen Hynek and Jacques Vallée. Why do you have these supposed experts on UFOs and UAPs being advisors to fictional movies?
About aliens.
About aliens. Which is great. Have you seen the trailer for his upcoming movie, Disclosure?
Yeah.
That looks interesting.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Maybe that's the real disclosure.
Maybe that is it.
Like, he's just been trickling it here and there.
Or the government has hired him to put out the information they want out.
1000% believe that.
Yeah.
Same with Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Because he made Poltergeist. Like, this guy knows the secrets.
I don't know if he knows the secrets or he's being fed the narrative that they want to try to control about them. Be like, okay, we can give you this, this, and this. So let's make a movie so that people understand this, this, and this. But the real story is still on the side.
Or, let's make this movie, but we want it to be kind of scary to keep people away from it.
Yeah.
Because Poltergeist was a scary movie.
Yeah, that
But
clown.
Our experiences with ghosts and poltergeists are like, they're like cats. they don't harm you, they're just dicks. Yeah. Watching your camera go.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Which, I saw another one, by the way, when I was doing the last episode, but I don't know if it was the camera moving or it's because I put my arm up and I had it on facial tracking. So it could have just been the camera itself. So I was like, I'm going to let that one go.
See if that did anything.
I would shit my pants if it was just like, ceiling.
You just hear in the background, idiot.
No.
Idiota.
Idiot. Deep cut, dude. Deep cut.
Idiot.
No, the only time I hear voices around here is, hey. And I've heard it twice.
Maybe we need to just do an investigation here.
At some point. It's been kind of quiet lately. When I say lately, I mean in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because it kind of comes and goes in waves. But yeah, anyway, did we miss anything? Better yet, did we solve it?
I think that we definitely covered it. I think we solved the first one for sure.
For sure. I'm still going with the Nephilim just found that cave because it was the only thing above water and decided to make port there.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm going with that until further notice.
Yeah, I tend to... I might believe the Templar Knights theory, which is, he didn't say anything about the Grand Canyon, but I don't know, I like that more because it's more Indiana Jonesy.
It is. There's definitely that
I got
vibe
that
there.
Indiana Jones bias.
Yeah, it's like a little mix of Indiana Jones and the Dave-inci Code.
Yeah, yeah.
Where like the Templars took Mary's body and kept it safe and all that.
Yeah. I think that like doing these series on stuff, we can definitely do a series on secret societies. Knights Templar.
Ooh, yeah.
The Red Shoes group.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Which I hate to say it, because when all that Pizzagate QAnon stuff came out, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Total horseshit, but interesting. Boy, was I fucking wrong.
Yeah, I tended to believe it. I think that I was like, yep, pizza with sausage, extra cheese. Let me get a little the Bob Marley special.
I think I had a problem with it because I was sent a link to a documentary series. You couldn't even watch it on YouTube. It was banned on YouTube, so I had to watch it on like Metacafe or something. Which
Did it originate from 4chan?
Probably. It was actually a very well put together series, but the problem I had with it was like this whole documentary, and they're talking about Pizzagate and these cults and ritual sacrifice and cannibalism and all that. Turned out to be totally true. But this whole documentary, they're pointing at Donald Trump was sent by God to save us from these people. That part was not true.
Well, yeah, they're trying to control the narrative.
Yeah. They're all sick fucks.
Yeah.
We need to hang all of them.
Yeah.
I don't even think hanging is correct.
Just light them on fire.
I was thinking like Viking Blood Eagle.
What's that?
It's where they open you up this way and they break all your ribs outward, so you're just like flayed open. Or they do it from the back. I can't remember. I saw it on the show Vikings, but it's like a punishment for the ultimate sin, and they hang you up. You're alive during this whole process.
Well, the birds come and eat you.
Pretty much. Yeah. My principle on it is if you want to stop horrible crimes against humanity, like what's being alleged in these files, you have to make the punishment for the crime so severe that nobody would ever dare think of doing it ever again.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't want to fucking Viking Blood Eagle. I'm just not going to touch kids.
Yeah.
But I also think that, I'm getting on a soapbox here, but if you really want to solve pedophilia, you need to make assisted suicide perfectly legal everywhere. Where if you're a minor attracted person, whether you've done anything or not, you can just go into this booth and say, look, I'm a minor attracted person. I need the cure. And the cure is they fill that box with noxious gas and you die. I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
Solve the problem before it's a problem.
Yeah. I think you solved that one.
100%. And the people who go, that's inhumane. No, it's not. You know what's inhumane is letting an adult harm a child.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, off my soapbox. Just had to throw that out there since we kind of went in that direction.
Yeah.
So, solve that one.
Solved it.
Fucking A, dude.
Cured.
There's a cure for pedophilia.
Yeah.
I got a baseball bat in the other room.
Yeah.
Jam some nails through it. Maybe go Negan style, wrap it with barbed wire. Stylistic.
Yeah, there was the whole aliens versus predators thing. Also.
That's what's going on with the disclosure thing. We got to put the aliens out there. So it's aliens versus predators.
No, it's like if you're an illegal alien and you want to become a citizen, you have to hunt down so many child predators.
On board, dude.
Yeah.
On board. No fees. Nothing.
Yeah. Okay, here's my 5 skins.
I want my scalps. You want to become an American citizen, you take on a debt. 100 pedophile scalps. And I want my scalps. Fuck. We're just coming up with solutions, dude.
Solving shit left, right, center.
Fucking Brown Johnson 2028. We got this.
Can we solidify your vote for the upcoming election?
Do you hate pedophiles? So do we. We have solutions.
Do you want disclosure, real disclosure about everything and anything?
All of it. Aliens. JFK.
Do
Martin
you
Luther King.
appreciate
Epstein.
the truth? We're gonna give it to you.
All of it. Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
That's what I would do if I was in charge.
Yeah.
You know, we always talk about, like, what's the ramifications of disclosure? At this point, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Pam Bondi, that fucking cunt, out here saying if we release all the files, the system would collapse. For one, no, it wouldn't. The people who would need to be punished should get punished, and then the people will rise to the occasion to step up and fill those voids. That's what would happen. We wouldn't just have like a collapse of the entire planetary system.
Yeah.
We just got to start rooting out the evil people.
Yeah. The whole system will collapse. No, it won't.
No, it fucking won't. I'll argue that with anybody. I don't care.
Yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, let's call it there, Doctor.
Doctor.
Later, Tater.
Bye.